First action, ego picks up a plate while holding a sponge. The label must be hold sponge with left hand and then pick up plate with right hand. As you guys notice, the ego is already holding the sponge. Okay, next action, ego then opens the faucet, the label, hold sponge with left hand, comma, hold plate with right hand, comma, turn on faucet with left hand. All right. Next action, ego cleans the plate, hold plate with right hand, comma, scrub plate under faucet with sponge in left hand. So basically, the ego is washing the plate under running water or faucet while scrubbing. So this is how you label it. Okay, it's under faucet. That's understandable that there is water pouring onto that plate. Okay, moving on. Okay, numericals and intent. Numericals, picking up multiple objects at the same time, you can't use numerical term. Okay, like this, pick up three knives with left hand. You can use plural form or number words. Okay, I do recommend just using the plural form because it's much easier and less word to use. Okay, pick up knives with left hand, just easier, safer as well. Next one, holding multiple objects. Yeah, as I said, you can't use numerical. And then also this forbidden word, you can't use tools. Okay, so hold two tools with left hand. You don't do this. Okay, instead you label it specifically or generally those objects that are being held by the ego. Okay, so hold pliers and hammer with right hand. Okay, you have to be specific. If you don't know what's the object, try to use Google Image or, well, you can use component, something like that. Okay, next one, intent. Do not label what the ego intends to do. Basically, the purpose of the reaction. So what are the purpose of the reaction is what like this. To cut tape, to tighten, to close. It seems like or it sounds like a reason of the first action. So as you guys see here, pick up scissors to cut tape with left hand. This pick up scissors seems to have reason to cut tape. So you don't label that, okay? If you see the ego just picking up scissors, then that's it. Pick up scissors with left hand. You don't have to put the reason why he pick it up, okay? If the ego is cutting tape with scissors, then that's how you label it. Cut tape with scissors in left hand. Directive, all right? Moving on. Okay, boundaries. Delete this. Yeah, I'll delete this later. Yeah, we don't have boundaries anymore. Someone asked earlier in the beginning, said that he can't merge segments anymore. Yes, you won't be able to merge segments anymore as they have their own timestamps fixed. Okay, so you don't have to deal with this now. It's much easier. I think I should delete this now. Yeah, let's delete that. Okay, next one. No action. Use no action only when hands touch nothing in whole duration of segment. Ego is idle or doing irrelevant behavior in whole duration of segment. Okay. Um, this means that if a segment is 10 seconds long and the ego remains idle for the first 9 seconds, then performs a pickup action during the last second of the 10-second segment, the entire segment should still be labeled as pickup. Okay? Only label no action if the whole segment, the ego did nothing. Okay? Hope you guys get it. Either it's like 2 seconds or 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It's fine. There is no minimum and maximum for no action. As long as the ego is doing nothing for the whole time of the segment, for the whole duration of the segment, then that's when you label no action. All right. I think Austin sent something. No more. Okay, okay. Thanks. All right. Moving on about this no action. Okay, this one should be deleted as well, but I don't know. Okay, just drink. There you go. All right. Label length. First, you guys now can exceed 20 words. So there's no maximum words per segment. Okay, label according to what is observed. Okay, every action, as long as it's important, as long as it's part of the objective, you must label that. Okay, all words must be true for the entire segment, which means, of course, you have to sit in in a frame before you can label it. Okay, let's say, giving you guys example here. Let's say the ego here picked up dumbbell, one of the dumbbell. Okay, but the hand exceeds, like 40% of the hand exceeds. However, you know that the ego pick up the dumbbell, you can still label that as pick up dumbbell. Okay, but if it's like 60% or 70% of its hand is out of frame, um, you better not label that as pickup because it will become a hallucination. Yeah, there's no clue that the ego really pick it up. Okay. Third, no max duration, no max segment duration. Each segment has its own timestamp. As I said earlier in the beginning, um, segments now have fixed timestamps, so you can't adjust it anymore. If there is like zero point 0.5 bleeding in a segment, you don't have to label that. Okay, consider that. Zero point 0.5, like 0.5 seconds of bleeding, you don't have to label that. But if it's more than that, you have to label that. Okay. Fourth, okay, we don't have action limits in a segment. As I said earlier in the beginning here, you must label every actions in a segment. Okay. Moving on, labeling standards. Okay, labeling standards priority is accuracy, not maximum granularity. A label is a self-contained imperative instruction that must accurately describe the hand-object interactions in a segment specified by the ego's hands. Dance is preferred, but course labels are also allowed, provided that there are too many microactions within a second to label with dance. As I said earlier in the beginning, only hand and object interactions. That's where you focus. Okay, when you're labeling, and you can mix dance and course label as well. Okay, dance and course labels, you can mix them in a segment, especially when there are a lot of micro actions. Okay, be specific, disambiguate where applicable, focus on exact actions and objects, include the tool used and micro actions. Okay, we have a couple of examples here. I just want to know which one is the course label here and why. Okay, so for those who don't know the answer, they will know as well. All right, which one? To those who know, please answer this. Which one in these examples is the course label and why? Austin is prepared. He's prepared, guys. Or maybe you're tired to retype this thing. Two, arrange requires a several action. Good, good. The second one, because arranging can consist of different micro actions. Arrange is the course label because it focuses on the main one rather than micro actions. Because the targets are many. Exactly. Okay, great, great guys. Yeah, this is enough. I give up. Yeah. Well, keep going, son. Core arrange is course because arrange is a broader term. Exactly. All right, guys. So yeah, basically here arrange is the our course example here because the ego is going to interact with more than one part. So basically, imaginable that you can imagine that the ego will do a lot of micro actions while interacting into more than one tarts, more than one tart. So yeah, also this straighten shirt with right hand, this could be coarse as well. So it depends on the ego's action. If the action consists of micro actions while doing this, straighten, then this could be course as well. Okay, so it just focuses on the main objective. Well, that's how course work though. All right, moving on. Okay, listen everyone. All right, so dense labeling. Use dense labels when the action is short, is specific, and clearly visible. Okay, this kind of label focus on exact action. Wait, I'm sorry. This is gonna be too much explanation. All right, let's move on. So yeah, same. So yeah, this labeling focus on a detailed and specific, focuses on exact actions and objects, includes the tool used and micro actions. So think of dense labeling as what exactly is the ego doing right now, or every meaningful action of the ego. Okay, so just like when the ego picking up shirt, then that's directive, specific action. So label that as pick up shirt with right hand, and the next action is smoothen and smoothen shirt with right hand. So as I said earlier, this could be this kind of verbs could be course label. Okay, could be dance, could be the course as well. Next one, place shirt on table with left hand, and then last one that we have here is pick up flat iron with left hand and iron shirt with flat iron in left hand. This could be course as well. So iron shirt with flat iron in left hand. As doing this requires repetitive actions. All right, moving on. Course labeling. Um, Course labeling focuses on the main action being performed by the ego. We don't try to capture every tiny movement or every small object interaction. Instead, we label the action that best represents what the ego is intentionally doing. So basically, think of course labeling as what is the ego's main objective or main goal. So uh, that's how you determine course labeling. That's how you use course labeling. Okay. All right. So here, no micro actions focuses on the main goal or objective. As I said, includes a tool used either left hand or right hand or both hands. Okay. So also remember, note that descriptors required for two or more similar objects when acting on one. When acting all of them at once, use the collective plural noun. Do not enumerate. You don't have to enumerate when the action applies to all similar objects. And why is this here is it's because course labeling so this um rule since it focuses on the main objective of the ego, you don't have to do this. Like pick up red and yellow and blue tennis ball. Okay, you can just do this when the action applies to all objects, to all similar objects. Okay, mostly used with course label. That's why this note is here. Okay, this should be in the descriptor. All right, so here we have a couple of examples. Wrap position shirt from basket onto table with left hand. Basically, the wrap position is like pick up and place. However, it might have micro actions in between of pick up and place or before, or it's just better to use one like a short repositioning of the object. Yeah, I will be showing that later. Next one, fill plastic bag with pellets from container with scooper in right hand. So basically, this course label is like scooping from container and then pouring into plastic bag. Okay, so that's how you label when the ego is filling like the plastic bag, right? That this is coarse. And then yeah, smoothen shirt with flat iron in right hand. Could be dense, could be coarse. It depends on the ego's action. Right? So yeah, we don't have lists of dense and coarse verbs that you can use. It's just literally based on the ego's action. Okay. Moving on. Okay. Example of course action. So here, course labeling covers repetitive actions, mostly of repetitive actions. Okay. For example, the ego pick up something and place it. They are not considered in course labels. Okay. So because pick up and place have different goal. Okay. Unlike here, the ego is scrubbing. See this is our course here. Scrub pan with sponge in right hand. So this does not include this action, like the pickup and then all of this, segment one, segment two. Okay. So here, okay, let me read this. Segment 1, hold sponge with right hand, comma, position pawn under faucet with left hand. That's the first action. Let's wait. See that? And then he turns on. Hold pan with left hand, hold sponge, and turn on faucet with right hand. That's what happened. See that? And then he turns it off. So hold pan with left hand, turn off faucet with right hand, and then scrub pan with sponge in right hand. So as you can see here, the ego is scrubbing the object, the pan, and then the ego is turning the pan as well. As you can see. Okay. It's continuous action, which means it's part of scrubbing. Okay. He wouldn't be able to scrub that part if he's not going to turn it. So it's part of the main objective of the ego or the main goal of the ego. Okay. So another example here, ego task is to clean a shoe with a claw with a toothbrush and determinedly dips the toothbrush into a container of cleaning solution in between the scrub action. So just like earlier, the pick up and place. Okay. So the dipping is not part of scrubbing. Okay. So here we have hold shoe with left hand, comma, scrub shoe with toothbrush in right hand. So this only covers micro actions during the cleaning of the shoe with toothbrush. So for example, the ego is turning the shoe or adjusting the shoe while scrubbing. That is still part of scrubbing. Okay, scrub shoe with toothbrush in right hand. However, if the ego stops scrubbing and then he just turned the shoe, you have to label that separately. Okay, it would be like turn shoe and then scrub shoe with toothbrush in right hand. Okay, so next action is hold shoe with left hand, comma, dip toothbrush into bowl of soapy water with right hand. So this is not part of scrub anymore. Okay, this has an entirely different goal and therefore must be labeled separately. The same with pick up and place action. Okay, all right, moving on. I believe everyone knows about this. Forbidden words. Okay, we have couple of words here. Forbidden words adjust, manipulate, tool an object, transfer, inspect, check, examine, and test. Okay, so this inspect, check, examine, and test. Okay, these are not allowed because we can't confirm this. Only ego can confirm this through their eyes. Remember that we only have to label what we see on the video, not what the ego see. Okay? Next one, present participle verbs. As I said in the beginning, you can only use action verbs. You can't use present participle verb like verbs that with ing in the end, like this one, picking up, placing, working. You can't use this. Okay. Well, you can use this with object. It's fine because that's an object. Like for example, pick up boxing gloves. It's fine because it's an object. But for an action like picking up boxing gloves, that's wrong. Okay. Next one, the most used forbidden word is this article. The word the, a, and on. These three are the most used. For example, place the cup on table. This is wrong. Should be just place cup on table. And the next action is pick up a shoe. Should be just pick up shoe. All right. Next one, pronouns. You can't use pronouns or you can't refer to an object as pronouns. Okay. Here, pick up bag with left hand and place it on the table. This is wrong. Okay, you can't refer to an object as a pronoun. You have to use the general name or the specific name of the object. You can't use brands as well. Okay, you can't label like pick up Lacoste bag. You can't do that. Okay, just if it's a bag, then just bag. Okay, you can't use assemble, rummage, handle, rich, and handle. Of course, you can't use rich. It's like unfinished action of pick up or pull action. Okay. Well, so, okay. Some of you might ask for copy of this presentation or documents. I'm sorry, I won't be able to send it to you. We're not allowed to send this to you guys. Well, you can take a screenshot if you guys want. Okay, it's totally fine. Moving on. Action rules, verb punctuation. When the object leaves surface, use pick up. Okay, not pick, not take, not grasp. Because pick is like more of selecting or choosing. Take is highly versatile English word that you can use in a lot of actions. And grasp is when the object does not leave the surface. Okay. Next one, object contact surface, use place. Okay. However, the place requires a location and general is fine. You don't have to include the position of the object in the location. Okay. You just have to label the location. That's it. Okay. Do not include the position because you might be wrong if you do that. Because most of locations are large stationary object. So you don't have to include the position like up or left, something like this. And then relocation with an object, you can use reposition. This describes an object being moved from one location to another, basically just a pick up and place action, but more broader verb. All right. Okay, here are samples of verbs that you guys can use. However, you can still use different verbs as long as it's accurate with the action of the ego. Austin, can't hear you. Of course, I'm not Austin. So yeah, here are the sample of verbs that you guys can use. You can use slide as well, as you can see here, slide or push. As long as it's accurate with the action, you can use it. Okay, as long as it's not in our forbidden words, you can use it. All right. So yeah, here shift and reposition. Here, this is reposition. You can use pick up and place as well. Well, move is fine. Here you can use push as well. Slide, this too. Moving on, center, align, slide, level, and this level is considered as coarse because of the action of the ego. See that? After pouring, the ego level the mixture more than one time. See that? One objective, a lot of micro actions. So that's how you determine course label. So here, align, slide, and tilt. Moving on, unfold, tack, turn, fold, rotate. You can use flip here as well when the ego is flipping pages or turn pages, something like that. So here you can use push and pull as well, pull and then push, but tack is just much better when the action is like this. So yeah, this one is rotate. I'll give you guys a tip. So okay, here flatten, smoothen, straighten, tighten, and loosen. These verbs are most likely to become a course action. Okay, a course label. Because most of these verbs are having micro actions. Okay, so yeah, giving you guys a tip here. When the ego when you can see the object is being tightened, then you can use tighten. Okay? Tighten lid of battle with right hand. See that? The object is being tightened. Here the object is being loosened, then you can use loosen. Like loosen lid of battle with right hand. Okay? But if you can't see it, like if you can't see if the object is being tightened or loosened, you can use rotate instead. Okay? Because you don't know what's the ego's objective in this segment. But you know that the ego is rotating the screwdriver. So that's just much safer to use for me. Okay? Well, you can use fasten as well when the ego is tightening object. All right, moving on. Grip and grasp, grip or grasp. This is where you can use grip, okay, or grasp when the object does not leave the surface. And also, some people are calling this as hold. I think that's acceptable. However, I do recommend just to label it as grip first, and then if the ego is still holding the same object in the next segment, then that's when you label hold. Okay, let's say for example, the ego, this segment ends. So you can see the ego is still holding it, and then the next segment, the ego is just holding it until the end of the segment. Then that's when you can label it as hold. All right, so yeah, here, hold, this is hold when the ego is already holding the object, especially when the segment starts. And yeah, it's like inside of our hold rule, then it's totally fine. All right, so this is how you use hold. Okay, push, pull, press, and work. Well, I'm not sure if work is still allowed. but it's too broad as you can see. Well, you can use need here as well. Press this, press. Okay, moving on. Twist, flip. So here, as you can see, we didn't include the placing action because we already mentioned the table here. So flip garment on table, so that's understandable that the ego flip it on a table with both hands. Okay, so squeeze and pinch. Apply and insert. So apply here is considered as coarse. As you can see, the ego is interacting with more than one paper. So ego is having a lot of micro actions while doing this one objective, the applying. Insert, yeah, pick up engine part and insert engine part with both hands. All right, moving on. Special labels. Give me a second, guys. All right, hold label. Always table holding manipulable objects. Do not label hold on large stationary objects such as tables, walls, countertop, windows, cabinets, floor, large stove, fridge. Those things that cannot be manipulated with just hands. Okay, you better not label that as hold. So some of you might microwave. It's fine. Microwave, it's not that big. I guess as long as it's not fixed in a location. So let's say for example, listen guys. So let's say for example, a door. Okay, the ego holds door. All right. If the door is open, which mean the door is manipulable because it's opened. But if it's closed, you don't label that as hold because that is when it becomes a stationary object. So it becomes fixed in that location. So same with microwave. If the microwave is fixed on the cabinet, then that is when it becomes a stationary object. If the ego opens the door and then hold the door, then that's when you label that as hold. All right. Is that confusing with the door? Because some of is touch. No, touch is not okay. All right. So first example that we have here. Please listen, everyone. So yeah, I'll be answering your question if you have question after this hold. Okay. Ego hold pillow in left hand while cleaning shelf with cloth. So basically, this is the action. So the label hold pillow with left hand, comma, wipe shelf with cloth in right hand. Next action, ego wipes a window with a cloth. So as I said earlier, do not label holding large stationary objects. So window is part of it. So it should be labeled as wipe window with cloth in right hand. Okay? Hold window with left hand, comma, wipe window with cloth in right hand. You would be wrong if you do this. Okay? So here, another example. Ego picks up a cup, comma, remains idle, then places the cup on the table. Pick up cup with left hand. Why is this like all of this are like this? Like it's not it's not good. So like the column is bad. Who made this? So okay, pick up cup with left hand, comma, hold cup with left hand, comma, place cup on table with left hand. So as you can see here, this hold could be considered as redundant, but I'll explain that later. Okay, let's move on. We're going back to this later. Here, next one. Hold shirt with left hand, comma, iron shirt with iron in right hand. So basically this picture, okay? So the ego is holding shirt and it's required here because the ego is maintaining contact with the object via left hand, not just maintaining contact. The ego is stopping the shirt to move while ironing. So it contributes to the main goal of the ego, right? He is stopping with its left hand. He is stopping the shirt with its left hand. So basically, it's really part of the main objective of the ego. It helps to finish the main objective. All right, so that's when you can label it as hold. If the ego is just about to hold it, about to place its hand, well, that's when you can label it as press. Like, and then the next segment, if the ego is still ironing it, and then the ego is holding the shirt still, then that's when you label it as hold. Okay. Next one, next example: hold shoe with left hand, pick up brush with right hand, comma, scrub shoe with brush in right hand. So here, the hold is valid because the brush was the object being interacted on in the second and third atomic action. So here, pick up brush, as you can see, the brush, and then scrub shoe with brush. This is our main object. Okay, so the pick up brush and scrub shoe with brush. If you did not label the hold on the shoe, you would end up missing an action in this example. The hold shoe is mandatory here. Okay. So next example, hold knife with left hand, comma, grip meat with right hand, comma, slice meat with knife in left hand. Okay, here, hold is redundant because the knife was interacted within the same segment. As you can see here, our main object is the knife. Okay, the ego is manipulating the same object in the same segment. Okay, so the hold here will be redundant. All right, so yeah, hold is no longer required in this action. Moving on, here, another example, a hold label is required whenever the ego remains idle for at least 3 seconds while holding an object or after an interaction with the object. It will no longer be redundant, which means it's acceptable even if the object is used in a later action within the same segment. So for example here, we have two examples. Rotate cup with left hand, comma, hold cup with left hand, comma, hold cloth with right hand, comma, and then the ego wipe cup with cloth in right hand. Okay, so some of you might be confused, why is this allowed? Okay, so the rule is when the ego remains idle for at least 3 seconds, you have to label hold when the ego is holding object. So here, as you can see, a hold label applies when the ego pauses or remains idle with both hands for at least 3 seconds while holding an object. Basically, both hands are not doing anything. Okay, if the ego is just holding one object and then the other hand is moving to pick up something, that is when it becomes redundant. But if the ego stops, like both hands for at least 3 seconds, you have to label that as hold. Same like this. Okay. Another example. Beginning of the segment. Hold shoe with left hand, comma, hold brush with right hand, comma, and then the ego scrub shoe with brush in right hand, then comma, turn shoe with left hand. So this hold could be redundant if the ego does not post for at least 3 seconds. If the ego paused for at least 3 seconds, like this, then that's when you can label it as hold. Okay, so earlier, this means that after picking up, after the pickup action, pick up cup with left hand, in here, the ego pause for at least 3 seconds. Both hands are not doing anything, and the ego is just holding the cup with its left hand. Okay, and then you proceed to label the next action as place cup on table with left hand. Right? So another example here, the hold knife with left hand. This could be acceptable when in the beginning of the segment, the ego paused for at least 3 seconds. But if it's not, like if the ego is just moving to grip meat with right hand, like the hand is moving, okay, to grip the meat with right hand, then the hold will be redundant. Okay. To consider the 3 seconds rule, you have to check both hands. If both hands are like paused for 3 seconds, then that's when you consider the 3 second rule of hold. All right. So I hope you guys get it because I don't have voice anymore. Jesus. Oh, we can label 3 actions per segment. No, that was months ago. That rule is from months ago. I just said earlier that you must label every action in a segment. There is no minimum anymore. There's no maximum as well. All right, we got it. Thanks, Jen. So yeah, by taking a screenshot of this and then you read it again, you can easily get this. Okay? The explanation is here as well. I put this thing here, okay, to explain it easily to you guys, and I believe by just reading this, you'll just get it. Okay? Screenshot this. This will help you. Okay, this. Let's start with here. So yeah, screenshot this, and then the next one, and then of course this last example. Can you mention a color? Yes, of course. Later, I will be discussing that. Okay. I think it's 5 slides away from this. All right. Moving on from hold. Okay, this is not mine. This is Al's example. Pick up pants with right hand, pass go out to right hand. I don't know what is this. Is it redundant? Yes. Proceed to the second question. Yeah. This is not mine. This is from Al's. Wait. I should be deleting this. All right. That is not mine. All right, here someone asked about this when the ego is exchanging object between hands. So here, yeah, someone asked this in the beginning. So here, when the ego is when the ego is exchanging hand, this is how you can label them. Okay, so here, acceptable, pick up cup with right hand, comma, shift cup from right hand to left hand. Okay, it should be shift from, not in like this. Okay, this is gonna be wrong. Even though you use the acceptable verbs for this action and then you use in, you would be wrong. You have to use from. Shift cup from. Okay. Well, you can use this as well. Pass cup from right hand to left hand. And no, here. Pass cup to left hand, like the shortcut one. Pass cup to left hand. Like pick up cup with right hand, comma, pass cup to left hand. You can also use switch, set, juggle X between both hands, especially when the ego is exchanging between both hands multiple times. Like instead of relabeling it as shift cup from right hand to left hand and then another one shift cup from left hand to right hand. So you better just use juggle when the action is like that. Again, you can use shift, put, pass, and switch, set, juggle X between both hands. All right. So here, these are the wrong verbs that you can't use. Okay, you can't use this verb when the action is like this. When the action is when exchanging objects between hands. So transfer, hand over, give, and hand off. All right. Moving on. Descriptors. All right, I'm just talking for an hour. I don't have voice anymore. Oh my god. So descriptors are required for two or more similar objects acting on one. When acting on all of them at once, use the collective plural noun and do not enumerate. So yeah, use descriptors only when there are two or more similar objects that needed to be distinguished. If only one object is involved, no descriptor is needed. Okay, so if the action applies to all similar objects, use the collective plural noun and do not enumerate. As I said earlier, I gave you guys this example. The pick up tennis ball, and then pick up red and yellow and blue tennis ball. So you don't do this when the action applies to all similar objects. Okay, you can just then use the plural form of the object. Okay, moving on. Adjectives. So use adjectives only to disambiguate two or more similar items. Blue cloth versus white cloth. Yeah, someone asked this earlier if they can use the color. Yes. So yeah, that's how you disambiguate similar objects. You can use that. One of the options that you can use. So blue cloth versus white cloth. Otherwise, keep it simple. Pick up cloth with left hand. Remember that if only one object is involved, you don't have to put descriptor. Okay, it's not needed. Okay. So if you see that the cloth is just one on the frame, then you don't have to describe it. Okay. The next one, body parts. Avoid body parts unless unavoidable, with the exception of hand, of course, because we have to mention the hand usage. So here, this is what we preferred: place fabric on surface with right hand. Okay, acceptable, but as I said, avoid it as much as possible. Avoid body parts. So place fabric on lap with right hand. Okay, you don't do this. Better to just label that as surface. If you don't know if what kind of surface the ego is going to interact, then you can just use the surface. All right. So lastly, position. Use position terms like left, right, upper, bottom only to disambiguate similar objects. So only when it's needed to identify a specific object or part. Um, we prefer describing the object by its attributes. Okay, so here we have couple of examples. Oh, hold sides of shirt with both hands. Scrub bottom part of shoe with brush in right hand. So here, even though that the object is upside down, like the shoe is upside down, you still have to call the bottom part, even it's on the top, as a bottom part because that's the attribute of the shoe. Okay. So, however, I don't recommend using this. You can just label that as scrub shoe with brush in right hand. Much simple and much safer. Okay. So let's say, for example, the ego scrub other part of the shoe, you would be wrong if you just label that as bottom part. But if you label that as whole shoe, then that's much safer. Okay. Same like this. Fold sides of shirt with both hands. So basically just the sides of shirt. Okay. But if the ego fold like the sleeves of it, you would be wrong. Okay. So you just better fold shirt with both hands. That one is much better. It's the whole shirt. All right. Okay. Here, object centric versus egocentric perspective. So object centric perspective, basically a movable objects. Okay, a movable objects. Used to used to specific identifiers to distinguish movable objects from similar ones. So as I said, we prefer describing the object by its own attributes, such as color, pattern, relationship to nearby objects, container or location based, size-based identifiers, state-based identifiers, function-based identifiers. So let's say, for example, here with the function-based identifiers. So here, pick up serving spoon with right hand. So let's say the scenario ego is like no the whole frame, like you can see a lot of spoon in the frame, and then the ego interacted with a bigger one. Well, you can use the size as well. You can use the size like this one, let's say big spoon, or you can use the function of the spoon like a serving spoon. Of course, serving spoon is much bigger than the natural spoon. Okay, so this helps ensure the correct object is selected and acted upon by the ego. So another example here, giving you guys, pick up blue cloth with left hand. Okay, let's say there's a tons of cloth in the frame, then you can use the color. Let's say another one. You can use pattern. Pick up striped cloth with left hand. There's tons of cloth, and you can determine the other one with its pattern, like striped cloth. And then let's say, for example, there are tons of striped cloth in the frame. Well, you can add the color. Let's say, for example, pick up blue striped cloth with left hand. All right, so that's how you combine these descriptors. So next one, egocentric perspective. Basically, large stationary objects that cannot be manipulated or move with just hands. So objects are referenced from the ego's perspective and by their functional parts. Use object parts such as cabinets, armrests, shelves, rather than excessive positional descriptors whenever possible. So focus on the area being interacted with rather than describing the entire object. So you don't have to include the position, like wipe left armrest of sofa with cloth in both hands. As I said earlier, the place action, you don't have to include the position. Okay, just the location. That's it. If it's like large stationary object. So yeah, that's all with this descriptors. Moving on, yeah, quality control. Here, of course, before you submit your episode, you have to check the full action coverage in a segment. Okay. Make sure you label every action in a segment. Then accurate verbs. Of course, your um, verbs must be accurate with the actions of the ego. Okay, no hallucinated actions. Basically, the action is different with the verb that you use. Okay, that's fail. Okay, so yeah, here missed conditions, missed hand used for the action, hallucination, probably different action than the verb used. Forbidden words. So here, these are the most used forbidden words. And no action label combined with the action. So here, like this, you can't do this. Okay, no action, comma, place cap on table. You can't do this. Okay, even though that the 90% of the segment is no action, and then the 10% the ego did place cap on table, then that should be the label of the segment, not like this. You just have to label it like this, place cap on table, not like this. Okay. So yeah, um, we're done. But before we proceed with the question and answer, um, let's try to do live labeling first. All right, we have this. Okay, let's see what happened here. Okay, someone asked earlier how can we report a video here. You just have to click this report. Okay, click this report when the episode consists of poor lighting, low resolution, etc., etc. These options. If one of this is occurring with the episodes that you reserved, you can report it. Okay. It should be at least 60%, I believe, of the video. Like, let's say, for example, 60% of the video have um poor lighting, then you can report it. Okay, so that's how you report. You just have to click this and then submit. All right, so yeah, here is our live labeling. This thing is called episode. The whole thing is episode, and this is our segment. So segment. So once you're done with your segment, you double check it. You just have to click complete, and yeah, make sure you double check every segment. All right, so yeah, now we have to label this. Help me now. So this segment, okay, this is the sort of duration of our segment, 6.3 seconds. Currently, we have 20 words in this segment. So let's see. Okay, for those who are new, this loop on and loop up, just going to repeat your segment. Okay, when you loop on, this will keeps repeating. And this is our playback speed and our quality. I want this. Oh, a lot better from 480p. As you can see, guys, 480p. It's so blurry. And then full. I don't know this full. Maybe this is 1080p now. Not sure. So yeah, let's try to label this now with point five. Okay. Try to label this, guys. What do you mean lifesaver? 480p. Yeah, 4080p is so blurry as you can see. This is 480p, and then full resolution. Dang, look at that. A lot better. All right. Label this. Let's try to label this. Place jar on table with left hand. Pick up bottle with left hand. Wipe bottle with cloth in right hand. Oh, it's correct. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. We do not get paid fast to afford data for 720p. All right, all right. How about the hold cloth? The hold cloth here is not applicable since the ego is going to wipe the bottle with cloth in right hand. So that's going to be the main object. All right. So it's not actually. So the hold there will be redundant. Pick up perfume bottle with left hand. Wipe perfume bottle with cloth in right hand. No, 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 no. Aren't we supposed? No. The object cloth, the cloth will be manipulated within the same segment, and then the other hand is moving as well. So yes, can we specify perfume bottle? Yes, but I just want to use bottle here. It's fine as well. Yeah, it's fine with just bottle. You can use you. Yeah, that's the. It's actually here. Just it's the function based of the bottle. Like it's perfume bottle, right? Oh, so that's how you describe it. So I believe this AI label is great enough. So place jar on table with left hand, comma, pick up bottle with left hand, comma, wipe bottle with cloth in right hand. Oh my god, it's fine. Yeah, this is can jar be container? Yeah, we can use that container. Let's say blue container. Just to change thing. It depends. It depends. If it's really a jar, then use jar. If it's a really looking container, then it's fine. For me, this is not a jar. It's actually a container, makeup container. Let's move on. Okay, this next segment, hold bottle with left hand, wipe bottle with cloth in right hand. So yeah, here this is when you can label the hold. Hold bottle with left hand, wipe bottle with cloth in right hand. So by the way, guys, you have to be consistent when you're labeling. So when you use blue container and the ego interacted with this blue container again in a segment, you can't label this as just container. You have to be consistent as blue container. If the ego interacted with this again in the last segment, let's say, you still have to label that as blue container. Okay. If the cloth is held more than 3 seconds at the beginning, we then include hold right. Well, if both hands are not moving, like if the ego is just holding the cloth for 3 seconds, then yes. Like for example here, as you can see, the ego is just holding the cloth, right? It's gonna be more than 3 seconds of holding. 2 seconds and then see that 3 seconds. It's not yet the bottle is not yet pick up. However, the other hand is moving, so we can't label this as hold. Okay, the ego is doing something. So basically, he's not idle, he's not pause. So the 3 second rule does not apply. Okay, so we can't label hold here. That why pick up bottle with left hand and wipe bottle with cloth in right hand. So next action, hold bottle with left hand, the ego is holding it, then wipe bottle with cloth in right hand. Okay, third segment, still holding, hold bottle with left hand, wipe bottle with cloth in right hand, place cloth on table with right hand. Let's see how. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. However, if yeah, we can call this as tissue. Is there any other cloth here? No. You can't use that tekla. Yeah, you can't use that. So hold bottle with right hand, place bottle in box on table with right hand. Hold bottle with right hand, place bottle in box with right hand. Unique, you can use both. That's totally fine. You are really describing it, so it's fine as well. Both works. Unique. So the next one, I think, how would we label this? It's already answered by the AI. Hold cloth with right hand, place bottle on table with left hand, pick up bottle with left hand, wipe bottle with cloth in right hand. Now here, since we listen guys, since we label the first as bottle, see this? We label this as bottle. Now here on the next segment, bottle, we can't label this as just bottle. This one. Okay? So if we're going to label this as bottle, we didn't disambiguate. We didn't distinguish which bottle is the ego interacting. So yeah, we have to disambiguate it. Oh, I didn't notice this from Bliss. You seem a bit cold today, eh? That's gonna be wrong. Nemsomashi? No, mesomashi? That's gonna be wrong. The whole cloth is not 3 seconds. The other hand is moving, which means the ego is not idle or paused for at least 3 seconds. The ego must be paused for at least 3 seconds with both hands. Okay? So with this, we can call this as just battle. How would you guys call this? Ade, yes, yes, Ade. It's like this one. Okay, hold battle with left hand, wipe battle with cloth in right hand. So the ego is not doing anything. It's just holding it and then wiping with the other hand. So you must label the hold here. So the same hold rule still applies. The 3 second rule is just added on the top of this when you can apply it when the ego is paused for at least 3 seconds. Can I repeat same sentence in one segment? Yes, of course. So yeah, we can't call this as bottle. How would you guys call this thing? Because we call this as bottle first. So what about this now? What is this thing? It seems like a vape. I don't know. Like vaping juice. No, I don't know. I don't vape. Ointment bottle? Spray bottle? I'd go with ointment bottle. Ointment bottle. Wipe. Ointment bottle. Got in right hand. It's baby oil bottle. I don't know. PDD is not here. It's not. So here, hold ointment bottle with left hand, wipe ointment bottle. As I said earlier, you have to be consistent. So we have to change this as ointment bottle. Every every label that ego is interacting with the same object. So still doing the same. Ah, so in the next action, hold cloth with right hand, place ointment bottle. It's not on table. It's on blue container with left hand. Press backs with left hand. Press backs. That is wrong. Okay, we don't label that action. If the action is like that, some of you earlier just asked stoner spotted. I don't know. I don't use vape, man. I don't do drugs. Okay. Alright, so here, hold cloth with right hand, place ointment bottle on blue container with left hand. The next action after placing, we can't label this. First, we can see. Second, we can't label touch. Touch is just not a good um action to be labeled. Okay, ninth. What if the cloth ego plays cloth on table? And then you label that as place, basically. Did he? Yeah, he did. So the hold is redundant here. So we label thanks for this. So the place ointment bottle on blue container with left hand and then comma place cloth on table. Table with right hand. I didn't notice. Sorry. Alright, thanks. Yeah, exactly. Alright, two more segments before we proceed. Pick up jar with left hand, wipe jar with cloth in right hand. But there was a pickup cloth as well. Yeah, you have to label that as pick up. Pick up jar with left hand, pick up cloth with right hand, wipe jar with cloth in right hand. Alright, next one. Then our last segment. Try to label this. Wipe jar with cloth in right hand. Hold cloth with right hand. Place jar on table with left hand. That is wrong. You just used the cloth to wipe the jar, and then you said hold cloth with right hand. That is wrong. Alright, so someone answered wipe jar with cloth in right hand. Place cloth on table with right hand. Place jar on stack with left hand. So yeah, I guess this is fine. Place cloth on table with right hand. Place jar on stack with left hand. Let's say stack of jar. Stack of jar with left hand. It's place jar on stack of jars with left hand. It's not on table. All right. I guess we're done with this. It's too basic. Everyone knows the answer. Let's see. Let's move on with the other segment. Yeah, it's all wiping. All right. Let's go back to here. There's a question and answer now. I have a couple of questions. Yeah, let's go with your questions. Okay, first from King. I have a couple of questions. Eager is drilling holes onto a wooden plank held by both hands, drilled bolted to the workbench. How should I label that? You can just label it as hold wooden plank if the eager is just holding it. Like hold wooden plank on workbench. Ego is performing normal kitchen activities. Example, shift plate, white with right hand. Pick up knife with right hand. Now the next thing he does is to hold down meat on the counter. Not pick up. He just holds it down to cut the meat. You can use grip. So let's say shift plate with right hand, shift plate and pick up knife with right hand and then grip meat with left hand. Something like that. Is remove forbidden? No. You can use remove. Next question from cells. What are hallucinations? Hallucinations are basically actions labeled with different verbs. Okay, you basically use different verbs like it's inaccurate verb in that action. Next question from you is if an object is slid on table with right hand, then pick up with left hand. Is it pass from right hand to left hand? It could be. If it's not long slid, then yes, that's a really obvious pausing. All right, from Yamal. Sounds like Neymar. Hello, is hold redundant in both of this? Pass cloud from left hand to right hand. Hold keyboard, yes. Hold keyboard, wipe keyboard with cloud in right hand. And two is hold keyboard with left hand, wipe keyboard with cloud in right hand. Pass cloud from right hand to left hand. Hold keyboard with right hand, wipe keyboard with cloud in right hand. Um, yes, the holder will be redundant. You can use grip instead when the ego is just about to grab it, something like that. You can't use grab. You can use grip. The holder will be redundant. What? Why did you ignore hold jar yet the wipe is happening with right hand? What? It's because the ego is placing the object as well in the same segment that here. If you're going to label the hold here, you would be wrong because he's going to place it anyway. You're going to mention the same object in the same segment. Like the hold will be redundant if it's like that. The ego's manipulating the object. So hope I answered your question. Yeah, I believe the hold should be here as well. But in our rule, if it's going to be manipulated like this, you don't have to use the hold here. All right. So what if he rotates the bottle? This question is from AB. Victor AB rotates the bottle while he wipes. Do we include rotate too? And also if one's labeling a segment, there where ego does nothing but taps on the cloth throughout, can one use stop in our labeling? Um, can one use that? Hmm. Well, I think that's fine. The top, it's fine. And then rotate, you don't have to label hold if the ego is rotating it. Like rotate bottle with left hand, then wipe bottle with right hand with cloth in right hand, something like that. Okay, an ego holds a shirt not up to 3 seconds, then places an iron on table, then straighten shirt with both hands. Is the hold action redundant? Yes. Um, place container on container stack on table with right hand. Better to use different. Like place container on stack of containers on table with right hand. If ego at the beginning places his hands on the placemat that's on a table and cleans the placemat with his right hand, is the hold necessary? You can use grip instead of hold if it's like that. And then if the ego still holding it in the next segment, then that's when you can label the hold. Alex Dejo. Okay, from Vinto, ego is holding framed mirror with left hand and wipes mirror with cloth in right hand in a segment. So do we label as hold mirror frame with left hand, wipe mirror with cloth in right hand, or hold mirror with left hand, wipe mirror with cloth in right hand? Hold mirror with left hand, then wipe mirror with cloth in right hand. That's much better. Explain the point 0.5 second bleeding rule. If the bleeding is just zero point 0.5, you don't have to label that action. That zero point 0.5 action, you don't have to label that. You can label that in the next segment. I thought remove was forbidden. Then it's not anymore. So the whole rule is that if ego holds the object and stays idle with both hands for 3 seconds, 3 seconds, not minutes. Jesus. Is it alright? Is it alright not to write the place? Example, pick up cloth on table with right hand? No. You have to label the place. It's very important. The right hand is moving. So segment 5, here. What do you mean? Hold ointment bottle with left hand, wipe ointment. It's not. Segment 5, the right hand is moving while the bottle in left hand is being held and interacted with. Why the hold action not ignored? Just segment 1. I don't understand your question. Maybe. Okay. Separate forbidden to if ego passes. Is separate forbidden? No, it's not there, so you can use it. Separate. It's like, yeah, separate. You can use separate. If ego passes an object to another person, do I say pass or ignore that? You can use place in that scenario. Um, no, hand over. I think hand over is still allowed. Hand over object to another person. For those who are confused with the hold, please take a screenshot of this. Thanks. This would really help you guys when you screenshot this. When the right hand plays on an opened window while the left hand wipes the window, is the right hand should be labeled as hold window? Yes, you can. It's opened, which means it will become manipulable. So here, the hold rule. You can just take a screenshot. How should we label this? Ego not changing the action, like the whole segment. Ego just wiping the window with cloth in right hand. The window is open. Um, is this answered by Austin? Maximum time frame. Mm, no hold for this. Only wiping action. Um, it's open, Austin. If the window is open, that is when it becomes manipulable. So hold will be acceptable in that scenario. What can I do when same action is repeated exactly in same segment? Just rewrite it. Relabel it the same. If the egg is holding cloth before picking up jar and wiping jar with cloth, I guess there's no need for hold. Yes, exactly. Now here's my question. So if the ego holds a cloth for over 3 seconds, do I still ignore the hold action, please? No. That is when you label the whole label. Same as here. This is your question. Okay, so if the ego is paused for 3 seconds, then holding an object, you must label that. Do you label wipe surface with cloth in right hand, reposition battle on surface with left hand, while wiping the surface continues? Segment where the ego repositions the battle while wiping the surface. It continues wiping after. Wipe surface with cloth in right hand, reposition battle. Yes, that's how you label it. Wasashi. Like, okay, I'll show it. So here, this is the question. Ego is like wipe surface with cut in right hand, and then reposition battle on surface with left hand, and then the ego proceeds to wipe again. This is how you label it. This is correct. Let me scroll down. Okay, from Ola, if ego is holding a bowl with both hands, and the left hand releases the bowl while the right hand is holding onto it, what's the best way to label that? An action like this, you don't have to label that. It's just with both hands. So hold bow with both hands, hold bow with right hand. Well, that's totally fine. You don't label that as pass. Okay, so you can label that as hold bow with both hands, hold bow with right hand. You can't label that as pass because it's in both hands. Ego use both hands. Oh, okay, okay. Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, you here? I didn't know. So, if the ego is giving something to another person, you can use hand, yeah, hand X, like hand object to person, like this. Hand X to person with, say, right hand. So I'll just say object. So, yeah, here, this is how you label when the ego is passing object to another person. Thanks, thanks. Thanks, Ragnar. Is that a Ragnar profile? Yeah, that's a Ragnar profile. That's a hold. That's a hold action. The ego is not yet. I mean, the ego is done. Um, reaching to it. Can you give example with the video, please? I have not understood the holding. Just a screenshot doesn't read this much better. If an ego is resting left hand on desk mat and wiping desk mat with right hand, can I use hold desk mat with left hand, wipe desk mat? Yes, that's manipulable object. Desk mat. If ego is using spray bottle on window with left hand and wipes window with cloth in right hand, can I say spray liquid on window with spray bottle in left hand? That's the correct label though. You don't have to say hold spray bottle. The spray, yeah, that's how I label by the way. Spray liquid on window with spray bottle in left hand. Wipe window with cloth in right hand. Yeah, that's fine. The holder, if you will include holder, that would be redundant. If ego places the left hand under faucet, how do you label that? You don't have to label that. If the ego is just going to wash the hand, like their hand, you don't have to label that. It depends on a surface, Black Diamond. If that surface is manipulable, then yes. Like if it's a towel, like a cloth, ego places it on cloth, then yes, you must. If ego pulls grass first with left hand and then next with right hand in the same segment, can I label pull grass from ground with both hands or pull grass from ground with left hand? You can use both hands, but it should be like almost in the same time, something like that. Almost like in the same second, not in the same not in a next segment. Where the ego is wiping a microwave with cloth in right hand, holds the microwave with left hand. Does the hold apply? It depends. If the microwave is manipulable, if it's not fixed in a location, I believe microwave is mostly fixed in cabinets. So that is when it becomes stationary object. So you can't label that as hold. But if it's just microwave, it's like on a surface, then yes. Is there a hold action, please? Yes, there is. Hold keyboard on table or surface with left hand, and then wipe keyboard with cloth in right hand. That's how you label that. So what if he places left hand on the cloth for about 5 segments consecutively? Can I include hold cloth with left hand in all 5 segments? Well, you must. In the assessment, I saw that if you place down, you don't need to add the location. Why is this wrong now? Down is not a location. For hold, let's in the segment, the ego is holding X and wiping it, then place on table. Do we label the hold for the object? Hold, let's in the segment, the ego is holding X and wiping, then place on table. Do no, the holder will be redundant. If here he's going to place it anyway, why would you label that as hold? Can it be just hold, not hold on table? It's on table. You have to include that. It's on table. Place container on container stack on table with right hand. Much better if you're going to say place container on stack of containers on table with right hand. That's much better. I think you place down when you clearly know it has been placed somewhere, but you can't tell as the next action is without the object. Yes, that's when you can label that. That's when you can use it. If you can see it, like if you can see like the ego is just dropping it, that's when you can use it, like place down, or perhaps place on surface, something like that. Drop X on surface because you're not sure, like you can see it. If ego was wiping a plate with cloth in the previous segment, then the next segment starts with placing the plate on rack while still holding the cloth. Do I start with hold cloth, then place plate, then pick up, then wipe cloth, or do I ignore the whole cloth? Yes, you have to ignore the whole cloth. You're going to wipe the plate with cloth anyway, so unless the ego stops for at least 3 seconds. Just to confirm, when to use and not use hold. If hand is on manipulable object, use. If on stationary or large object, don't use. If an ego is holding an object and both hands pause for 3 seconds or more, use. Exactly. If the hold is to do a different goal like place object on something, etc., not use the exact verb after holding. This is correct, Kant. Yeah, guys, read this from Kant. It's a basic guidelines. How do we label a place action when ego is holding cloth with the same hand? Example: place bottle on table with cloth in right hand. Um, Label it as hold cloth with right hand and then place bottle on table with both hands. Something like that. Do you ignore hold at the start of the segment when only the hand holding the item is idle for more than 3 seconds while the other hand is in action? No, you don't have to label that. You can't label that as hold because the other hand is moving, which means the ego is not idle. When ego moves an object on table surface without lifting it, can I use slide? Yes. Goodbye. Yes, I'm about to go as well. Uh, okay, ban verbs. Give me a second. I'm about to go as well. Yeah, that's it, guys. I can't answer every questions, but here, okay. Screenshot this. What if ego does two actions at the same time with same hand? Example: hold and tilt pan with right hand. That the hold will be redundant. You can just use tilt pan with right hand. That's it. When ego wipes table with cloth and picks up the cloth, do you label it as pick up cloth? Well, yes. The ego will lift it. Well, you can use lift as well. What is the best way to calculate the 3 seconds duration? Well, you look at the segment. Yes, the hold will be redundant because you will label the passing action there. Nevi. All right, guys. I can't answer every questions. Okay. Tomorrow will be another day for us to discuss things and to help you again. Thank you for joining the training, and yeah, I hope you guys learn at least. Okay. As always, have a good one. Stay hydrated and don't do drugs. Bye, everyone. Have a nice day. Good night. Thanks. Bye.